With Crown Jewel quickly approaching, the question should be asked. When taking a look at the men's and women's Crown Jewel Championship matches, did WWE get them right? And what I mean by that is, did they get the right match? Did they pick the match that made the most sense? So that is what we're going to be talking about in this video. We are going to be taking a look at both the men's and women's Crown Jewel Championship matches, and we're going to do a deep dive taking a look into last year's matches and taking a look at the overall story for these matches moving forward. And we're going to try to answer the question of, did WWE get them right? And before we get too far ahead in the video, I want to say that if you are a WWE fan, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. That is all we post is WWE related content. So if you're a WWE fan, again, consider subscribing. It's free. You can always change your mind later. So we're going to start off by talking about the women's Crown Jewel Championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie Valquer. And this one's been kind of interesting because we obviously had everything happen with Naomi, her having to vacate the Women's World Championship, everything that transpired after that, the speculation, the rumors about what was going to happen, who was going to win. Obviously, it makes a ton of sense for her to be in this position now that she does officially have the title. And right away, when we saw her first with that title, she just looked right with that title. So obviously, I think things may have been a little thrown off with the whole Naomi having to vacate situation, but I ultimately think that we ended at a very good point. Then we take a look at the women's champion, Tiffany Stratton, where, as of late, has also had kind of an interesting time moving forward, because there were a lot of rumors about her possibly being injured and WWE setting up the triple threat match between her, Jade Cargill, and Nia Jax. And I think that had us all kind of nervous, because nobody wanted to see Nia Jax in this match again, and no one really cared to see Jade Cargill in this match either, let alone be the new women's champion. Now look, me personally, I like both Nia Jax and Jade Cargill. I like Jade Cargill a lot more than Nia Jax, but I don't want to see Nia Jax in this position again, and Jade Cargill I think is very good and very underrated, and I think she gets a lot of hate that's just not justifiable. But obviously, none of that really matters. Tiffany Stratton ended up winning, retaining, and will face Stephanie Valquer for the Women's Crown Jewel Championship. And if you want to take a look at it from a story perspective, the story isn't quite there yet. I think they are still trying to build something, but I think a lot of that had to do with the possible injury to Tiffany Stratton, seeing how that was going to play out, and then moving forward. So I think a lot of the storyline for this match has been kind of up in the air, and I think we're going to get something that's kind of rushed. And if you want to take a look at last year's Women's Crown Jewel match, that match was between Liv Morgan and Nia Jax. And the story wasn't so much between Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, it was more so the looming threat of Tiffany Stratton possibly cashing in her Money in the Bank contract. And we did get a fake cash-in where she tried to cash in, didn't work. Obviously, Liv Morgan ended up winning and becoming the first ever Women's Crown Jewel champion. So while we could still get something interesting between Stephanie Valquer and Tiffany Stratton, as of right now, I don't think the story is quite there yet. But I think it could, and that's not going to take away from this match. This match should be a really good match. So on the women's side, looking at everything, looking at the hands that were dealt with WWE, I think they did make the right decision here. Having two mega popular superstars having a match, even though it's for a fake championship, I think is still the right decision to go at the end of the day. Moving on to the men's Crown Jewel Championship match, where we have the Universal Champion Cody Rhodes taking on the World Heavyweight Champion Seth frickin' Rollins. And right away, I can already tell you that this was the right pick. Compared to what we got last year in Cody versus Gunther, there was no story with that. And that ultimately just really hurt that match. Because while that match wasn't a fantastic match, it also wasn't a bad match, but it was not memorable at all. I'm sure there are some people watching this video right now who forgot who won the Crown Jewel Championship last year and who that match was against. But if you fast forward to now and you have the story between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, the rivalry that they've had is their story. Obviously, you take a look at the history between these two, and it speaks for itself. Every match that these two have been a part of has been memorable. We obviously had the WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 38, where we had a returning Cody Rhodes back to the WWE. Their amazing Hell in a Cell match when Cody Rhodes tore his pec. Those two matches still get talked about to this day. And I think the potential for this match can be looked at as a very, very, very memorable match. Because again, there's history to build off of here, and there's history to prove that this can be a memorable match. Obviously, we had Cody Rhodes, who had to get the title back from John Cena, had to go through Drew McIntyre, and on the other side, we had Seth Rollins, who had to go through CM Punk, which I think is still a rivalry that is not done yet. So when you compare this year's Men's Crown Jewel Championship match to last year's, this one has it smoked out of the water. Again, the story is there, and the story means everything sometimes to a WWE match. And last year's Cody versus Gunther match didn't have any of it. So I absolutely think that Cody versus Seth, once again, was a no-brainer, and I think it was absolutely the right decision. So, this is where I want to hear from you guys. Looking at both the Men's Crown Jewel Championship and the Women's Crown Jewel Championship matches, did they pick the right matches? Let me know why you think they did. Let me know why you think they didn't. And if you didn't, let me know who you would have put in these matches instead. Again, for me, taking a look at both men's and women's sides, I think they got them right on both. Especially compared to what we got last year, particularly on the men's side, where there was no story going into that match, and it just didn't really help the Crown Jewel Championship from trying to look like an actual championship as opposed to just a gimmick. So I think they absolutely nailed this decision, especially having Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins again. I think both matches should be really, really solid matches, which is something that really isn't the case for last year's. So as always, let me know that stuff down below in the comments, and while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. That is the only link in bio for a reason, and that is because it will take you to all of the social media platforms for this channel. And I do suggest going and checking out our X page. Besides YouTube, I am most active over on X. We do updates for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the PLEs. And above all else, I want the X page to be a place for wrestling fans to go and talk about wrestling, especially if you're like me and you don't have a lot of people to talk to about wrestling. So if you are like me and you're looking for a group of wrestling fans to talk about wrestling with, swing by an upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, obviously Crown Jewel coming up very, very shortly. Join in on the conversations, and maybe it's for you at the end of the day. And another place to go check out is our TikTok page. The TikTok page is still relatively new, so the only content that I'm posting on there right now is just clips from these videos, and it's just an extra place for me to post when I upload a video to YouTube. But eventually we are going to be doing some of the other WWE related things that take place over on TikTok. So if you're scrolling on your phone one day and you come across one of those videos, drop a like, drop a follow, show it some love. I'm really trying to grow that page a lot over there. So with all that being said, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Both are free, and both just really, really help out the channel a lot. And of course, if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to say thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here. It genuinely means the world to me. And as always, stay tuned for more WWE content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.